Thank you. So this rhetorical situation, I want you to imagine that you're a strategic investor and you're looking for some new investment opportunities. It seems like the catchphrase for these past 2 weeks has been thinking outside of the box, and that's exactly what you want to do. You're tired of mutual funds, you're tired of investing in energy, you're tired of all the norm, you want to get into something exciting, and you have a little bit of money that you want to be seed money. So what you've decided to do is invest in a new fleet of tugboats. In fact, you want to start your own fleet of tugboats. You want it to be your company. So insert your last name, towboat company. And you've got a lot of choices when you make a towboat. And for those of you maybe who didn't grow up around rivers or around lakes and whatnot, a towboat essentially pushes the long line of barges in front of it, and a tugboat aids ships coming into port. So this scenario will work for either one. It's your choice. Whichever one you think is more aesthetically pleasing, you can build. They'll both make money for you. But the bottom line in America is that most of the towboats and the tugboats today burn what we commonly know as diesel fuel, number 2 fuel oil, heating oil. It's all the same thing. It's diesel. You can get it at the pump at any gas station. I shouldn't say any gas station, but most gas stations in Oxford. It's very easy to find. It's ubiquitous. Everyone and their sister, it seems, that claims to be a mechanic can at least turn some wrenches on a diesel engine and maybe get it going again if something were to go awry. So in our example, you decide that you want to build a 100-foot tugboat. It's a nice round number. It's easy to grasp. In fact, there's been a few of these tugboats that actually have been built at a shipyard in Gulfport, and they were launched a couple of months ago. And I'm going to use their specifications in our example, but that's applicable to what you're thinking of. So these tugboats are 100 feet in length, and what they're designed to do is take liquid natural gas tankers in and out of the port of Pascagoula. And we're talking huge ships here, 700, 800, 900. Some oil tankers can exceed 1,000 feet. You're talking a lot of gross tonnage, a lot of water displacement, a lot of fuel, a lot of cargo, a lot of crew members. The bottom line is it's a ton of weight. And if your tugboat's going to be successful, it's got to be of adequate length. You've got to have adequately sized propellers on it. You've got to have the power plants to push that weight around. Now let's be honest, 100 feet, that's a big boat. It's going to take a lot of power to move it to begin with. But to even start to fathom, no pun intended, how to move these ships around, you are talking about a gross amount of power. In fact, on average, 100-foot boat, you're talking about 6,000 horsepower. So how are you going to procure this sort of power? Well, you can go to the commonly sourced V16s from our aforementioned manufacturers. Let's talk about Caterpillar. Let's talk about Cummins. Even John Deere's trying to edge their way into the market. But what do they all have in common? You're going to have between 12 and 16 cylinders. You're going to have pistons that go up and down. They're going to drink a little oil. They're going to drink a whole lot of fuel. And the biggest part, one of the biggest parts of a tugboat owner's expenses is fuel. Now, how much fuel do you think these 100-foot tugs hold? 1,000 gallons, that's a lot. If diesel costs $3.84 a gallon, I mean, how much would that be? Almost 4,000 bucks. They don't hold 1,000 gallon, they hold 45,000 gallons. So now you're talking about a big coin that you've got to put into your boat every month when it runs 18 hours a day. So we're being realistic. She's not going to run around the clock. You get a month out of your fuel capacity. That's going to run you around $250,000. Oh wait, that's just the foundation. Now let's talk about captain salaries. The rule of thumb is that captains earn $1,000 per foot, so 100 times 1,000 is $100,000 a year. What about your mechanic? What about your engineer? What about your cook, if you're fortunate enough to have one on board? Anyway, the bottom line is you're going to have 3 to 4 crew members to handle the hawser lines, to work on the engines and whatnot. So let's throw another 100,000 in the mix. Now let's talk about insurance. Can you imagine how much it must be to pay for the insurance on this boat when you're running out into the Gulf of Mexico and heavy seas and whatnot, bringing these ships in? It's going to be a ton of money. So what's the best way that we can cut costs and increase the bottom line? And the point I want to make to you today is that there's an alternative. It's popular in Europe. The fuel is readily available at every port in the United States. It's called bunker fuel. It's called heavy fuel oil. It's called number 6 fuel oil. There's tons of names for it, but what it's commonly known as is heavy fuel oil. And I've got this not so complex, but not overly simplified continuum here. And what I wanted to point out is at the top, you have gas. At the bottom, you have asphalt. Right above asphalt, I hope that's spelled correctly, we have residual fuel oil, heavy fuel oil. It was a byproduct for the longest time. It gained popularity in World War II because we didn't have enough coal, we didn't have the resources to drive these steam-powered warships. So they found this bunker fuel, or as it's commonly known, like we talked about, HFO, and they started injecting it into the boilers. It was cheap. The refineries didn't want to give it away. It was just a byproduct. It was waste. Anyway, the freighter ships started burning it because they found out it was cheap. Then some huge tugboats started burning it. But the point is, the smaller vessels never switched over to it because they thought that these systems were too complex. Today, I can offer you an engine that is not only about the same price, it burns less fuel, it's easier to work on, it has less moving parts, and the time between overhauls is more than double its diesel counterpart. And this is a heavy fuel oil engine. There's plenty of manufacturers that make them. MAK, Mitsubishi, Sulzer, B&W, not BMW. Totally different, apples and oranges. But the point is, they're readily available. The company I want to talk about today is MAK. Recently, Caterpillar acquired MAK, which is over in Germany. America, Germany. Caterpillar on this side can assure you a part with 99.7% certainty within 24 hours anywhere in the world. So what do you know? If they acquire MAK, this company is building an engine that burns less fuel, it's a little more economical, it's lighter. Well, why can I get this? And then I'm assured the parts. Hey, that's a great point. Let's make the point even better. Heavy fuel oil is 60% of the cost of diesel. The average price of diesel as of 10 o'clock this morning is $3.84 a gallon. Heavy fuel oil is $2.30 a gallon. So you've gone from $250,000 to fill up your 100-foot tugboat to around $150,000. Now, I don't know about you, but a savings of $100,000 a month certainly wouldn't hurt anyone's pocketbook. So if you're looking to save money and you want to cut costs on a perfectly proven and reliable system, I would recommend to you heavy fuel oil engines. Let's talk about one more component. The average what they call high-speed diesel engine, the governor is normally set to about 2,200 RPMs in workboat setup. These heavy fuel oil engines run less than half of that speed, 900 RPMs. So you think, it's turning slower, it has less moving parts, it's cheaper to operate. Well, again, that comes back to, with the engine turning over slower, you have so much more time in between when you need maintenance, when you need to perform maintenance, when you need to overhaul the engine, that's just putting more money in your pocketbook. You can sleep better at night knowing that these engines are bulletproof reliable because they've been proven over the past 70 years. And they still sell them today because they can pass the emissions regulations. So you're not harming the environment. All you're doing is being sensible in burning cheaper fuel. The smoke coming out of the smokestack on your tugboat is no more harmful than it would be burning the conventional diesel engine, than utilizing the conventional diesel engine. And finally, the last point I want to make to you, and this puts the icing on the cake, is that if for some reason you can't find this heavy fuel oil, which is at every major port in America, and for that matter around the world, for some reason it doesn't happen. For some reason the heaters go out in the tanks, and you do have to heat heavy oil, but it's not a big deal. It's easily implemented into the boat. If that doesn't work out, through computerization of these engines, and this couldn't have been dreamt of 30 years ago, you can burn diesel oil. So now, if there's someone in the room that can tell me why you wouldn't want to burn heavy fuel oil, I'll be astonished. Because you have the option. You can burn either one. Bill, I see you in the back there. Keep your hand down. Anyway, so if you've got the option of burning expensive fuel or cheap fuel, why would you burn expensive? That's like going out and buying an 85 Cadillac Eldorado with an 8.2 liter V8 and putting premium gas in it. Or you can go out and buy a new Camaro base model V6. It's got gobs more power and you can put regular fuel in it. It's a no-brainer. So that's what I want to leave you with today. I would strongly advocate you installing heavy fuel oil engines in your tugboat. Thank you very much for your time.